A very warm welcome to IDFC First Bank Presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 13. I'm Ritwika Gupta. Now, when we speak of time, very few brands have defined it quite like Titan. For decades, Titan has been more than a watchmaker. It's been a storyteller across every generation. But what does the future of timekeeping look like? And more importantly, what does it take to keep a legacy brand forever ahead of time? We'll find out today in a conversation with Kuruvilla Markose, CEO Titan Watches and Wearables. But before that, here's a report on India's watch industry. Rishita Kumar brings you this cover story.
Thanks, Ritwika. India's watch market is experiencing a remarkable transformation. Currently valued at $3 billion and projected to reach $4 billion by 2030, growing at a steady 8% CAGR. This growth story is being written by a diverse mix of traditional timepiece enthusiasts and a new generation of tech-savvy consumers embracing smartwatches. While quartz and analog watches continue to dominate, commanding 57% of the market share in 2024, smartwatches are the sector's rising stars. Now, the demographic breakdown reveals fascinating insights. Men currently hold 58% of 2024 demand, but women represent the fastest growing segment, forecast to expand at 9.3% CAGR between 2025 and 2030. This shift signals changing attitudes towards watches as both fashion statements and functional accessories amongst Indian women. Additionally, distribution channels are witnessing a quiet revolution. While offline retail retained a commanding 78% share in 2024, online retail is set to surge at 9.2% CAGR through 2030. Gen Z's digital fluency is driving this shift, as consumers increasingly discover, compare, and purchase watches through e-commerce platforms and social media channels. Metropolitan and Tier 2 consumers are leading this online adoption. Beyond market dynamics, India is witnessing a quiet renaissance in traditional watchmaking. A new generation of Indian artisans and entrepreneurs are reviving the craft of mechanical watchmaking, blending heritage craftsmanship with contemporary design. Small-scale ateliers are emerging in cities like Bengaluru, Mumbai, and Delhi, creating limited-edition mechanical watches that celebrate Indian motifs, materials, and engineering prowess. These boutique watchmakers are positioning Indian horology on the global map, proving that India isn't just a consumer market, but an emerging creator in the world of fine timepieces. As government incentives strengthen local manufacturing and skilled artisans rediscover age-old techniques, India's watchmaking industry is ticking towards a future where Made in India could rival Switzerland's storied legacy.
Mr. Markose, welcome to ET Now Leaders of Tomorrow. It's a pleasure to be chatting with you today.
Thank you, Ritwika. The pleasure is mine.
So, Titan has been a household name, a category creator when it comes to Indian watches, and we'll talk more about it. But I want to begin the interview by asking you, how do you see the role of watches evolving? Is it still about timekeeping or much more?
It's no longer about timekeeping, it's much more. Watches today have become part of adornment. They tell more about a person's personality and the style that the person wants to project rather than just merely act as a time-telling device. So I think that's the role that we are seeing about watches that has changed in India.
So, Stella 3.0 marks a significant milestone for Titan. I want to know, how do you think this is going to shape Titan's overall strategy, especially when it comes to bringing Indian watchmaking, onto the global stage?
So Stellar is part of the journey of premiumization that we are undertaking. And Stellar 1, when we launched it 2 years ago, was really about taking inspiration from space. And this time and space connection is something that's been around for a long time. But as we went into Stellar 2, we added elements into it which were more about horology and about eye horology. So for example, in Stellar 2, we had the first automatic with multiple complications or multiple functions built into it. And now in Stellar 3, we have one watch with a jumping hour and micromotors. That's the Zodiac. We have another one, which is India's first wandering hour. It's an automatic movement with a wandering hour complication. And this is a first for India. And this is done using in-house caliber that we had, on which the complications were built. Took us a few years to kind of perfect that. But when you see the watch when it is launched, you will understand why that is special. So that plus the use of materials. So you'll find aspects like aventurine dials, malachite dials. The wandering hour watch itself has a crystallized titanium case, which makes it both light and terrific to look at.
Right, so we're in the midst of festivities and we're also fast approaching the holiday season, especially Christmas and New Year, and it is a strong period for gifting. How do you plan to capitalize on this consumer sentiment, of gifting and, perhaps, position watches as something meaningful, when it comes to gifting?
So, I mean, watches are coming back as a gift in many occasions. It used to be, so many years ago, you couldn't get married in India without receiving a few Titan watches as part of your wedding gifts, right? But now gifting has become a lot more personal.
Right.
So there is more of involved gifting where you know what a person likes. So for example, my little story on that was in Stellar 1, there's a watch called the Black Hole. And that was my gift to my son because and it was not, he actually saw the watch, he saw the pictures of the watch and he said, I really like that. I mean, and his generation is a generation that has moved away from Titan.
Yeah.
But now, in a way, the kind of watches that we are making exemplified by Stellar excites a lot more of the younger audience as well. And therefore, gifting again watches are very, very relevant for gifting.
So zooming out to global horology, tell me, what are the biggest trends are you seeing shaping this space?
So I would say the biggest trend that we are seeing right now is a resurgence of analog. So around the world and in India, people are going back to wanting to wear a nice watch on their wrist. It makes them feel good, makes them look good. The other aspect that we are seeing is the premiumization trend. So for example, price points about 25,000 in India are exploding. There's a lot of growth that's happening there. Our own share of that space has doubled last year to this year. So it's growing very rapidly, both for the industry in India as well as for us. So that's the second trend that I would say. And the third is that there's a level of correction that's happening in smart. Smart enjoyed a certain novelty, a certain excitement. A lot of companies pushed the price down and therefore there was widespread adoption. But now it's a much more serious adoption that we are seeing. So smart, I think, delivers functionality and people who value that functionality buy smart. People who want to look good buy analog and price points are going up. So these are the three trends that I would say that we're seeing in the watches industry right now.
So speaking of the wearable space, it is pretty competitive. It is dominated by some of the global players as well. How do you see Titan carving out a niche in this space? What are the opportunities do you see for the brand?
So like I said, Wearables has corrected. It's still relevant. A lot of people want it for the functionality that it provides. It could be fitness-related functionality. It could be health-related functionality. Today, Wearables have very specialized sensors, and those are capable of telling you things that you wouldn't otherwise be able to figure out. And for those who value that, it certainly provides a benefit, right?
Right.
The other thing I think that's going to happen in wearables is that the wearable is a companion to your cell phone, to various other things that you're doing. So, right? So it has to have an ecosystem of benefits and capabilities and that is something that we are working on. We are working on building up an ecosystem of benefits and capabilities that would come with a wearable. So it's not just so much about buying a wearable device alone, but buying a set of solutions that come along with the device. So that's something that we are working on.
It's time for a quick break here. We'll be back shortly. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're watching IDFC First Bank Presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 13. In the spotlight today is Titan Watches and Wearables. So Titan has a significant retail presence, but today's shopper, they are discovering on social media, buying online. How are you catering to the digital first consumer? Is omni-channel going to be the approach going forward?
I would say it's already the only way to do things. And therefore, the simple mantra that I've found works is that you need your brands to be present online because that's where you're discovered. And once people discover online, if price points are below a certain level, they buy online. But if price points, like in the case of Stellar, we are talking about price points that range from, say, 10,000 all the way to 180,000, which is where the Wandering Hour is going to be priced at. There, you need the storytelling to happen online. People understand, and these are not decisions that you make that easily. So it builds up over a period of time. So you do all your research and discovery online. But finally, when you want to buy a 180,000 rupee Wandering Hour watch, which is part of the Stellar 3 collection, you want to pick it up, you want to put it on your wrist, you want to see the Wandering Hour moving, convince yourself that it's worth buying at that price.
Absolutely.
And therefore, I think the combination of online discovery and physical stores that really do the storytelling well for you, someone who can explain things, I think this is what's going to work.
So I want to talk a little bit about technology now. Technology, AI, that has transformed every touch point. Tell me, how are you, leveraging data, AI, to perhaps enhance customer experience as well as your products?
So Titan undertook a significant digital transformation in 2015-16 onwards. And from there, 10 years ago, when we didn't understand analytics, when we didn't understand omni-channel, when our websites at that point in time were largely discovery websites and not e-commerce enabled, I think we've come a long way. Today, we do data analytics and a whole bunch of AI-related stuff in pretty much every aspect, every space that we do. Where we are doing that is to drive people to discover and buy our products, right? So, for example, if you take the Stellar 3, there are 3 products here which are special products that need storytelling. And watches like the Aurora Calum, which is based on the Northern Lights, or the other one, which is the Wandering Hour itself, and the Zodiac. These 3 watches need the stories to be told digitally. We also need to identify from within our base of customers who are the people who are likely to buy these products. And all of this is where digital comes in, right? So how do we know whether, someone like you, what would you like? And how do we predict amongst the spectrum of products that we have, which ones would you be interested in? So all of this requires data sciences.
Absolutely. You mentioned storytelling quite a bit in this interview. For all the entrepreneurs watching our show today, how can they imbibe storytelling to their brand story? Like, how do they capture attention? How do they tell their story more effectively?
So first, I think you need to think and be clear about what is the story that you are going to talk about, right? So you need to have substance. So like in the Stellar case, in Stellar 3's case, a lot of the Wandering Hour, which is India's first Wandering Hour, is the story. So the advice I would give is that first, make sure that you have substance, make sure you know what you're doing, and make sure that that resonates with people. Then craft that into the best way, or the simplest and the easiest and the clearest way that you can tell the story. And then finally, I'd say every story doesn't resonate with everyone. Then you got to find your audience, right? And today, digital allows you to do that, right? You don't have to broadcast. you can pick and choose who receives the story that you are wanting to tell.
Yeah, I see. The theme for our show this season is agility, ambition, ascent. Um, for all the entrepreneurs watching our show today, if they want to scale in the similar way that Titan has, and perhaps, build on the ambition and the longevity the brand has, what would your advice be for the entrepreneurs?
I'd say look ahead, try and look beyond what the current environment is like. And I think that's a characteristic that Titan has always demonstrated. Some of what we are doing with these set of watches is to really push the envelope in terms of horology, in terms of the watchmaking, not just the craftsmanship, but the workmanship, right? So my advice would be similarly find what will excite people ahead. I mean, doing stuff that is available today or is exciting today will soon be copied, but doing something that will be unpredictable or something that is different and pushing the envelope, staying ahead of the curve is, I think, what separates the men from the boys.
Mr. Markose, what does leadership mean to you? Our show is called Leaders of Tomorrow, and I always ask my guests, what leadership means to them, and same goes for you.
Titan's corporate office, which we are very proud of, is a sustainable building. It's a LEED Platinum certified building. It's called integrity.
Okay.
And I think that's the one single attribute, if I were to single out for leadership, I think is to have integrity. Because I think there are a lot of great managers, great leaders out there, but there are very few leaders who are also good people, who have integrity. And I think when you can combine that, when you can combine leadership with integrity, you are a great leader and a good person. I think that's rare and that's special, and that stands the test of time.
Fantastic. And well, finally, congratulations on your new role as the CEO of Titan Watches and Wearables. I want to know from you, what is your vision for the company in the next 3 to 5 years?
So, I've always been a bit of a startup guy, gotten into new things. In Titan, my first role was that of the Chief Digital Officer. My second role was setting up our international business and taking it around the world across all of our businesses, jewelry, watches, eye care. And now this role, I'm in what is our OG business, which is watches. Yeah. It's running very well. We had a terrific quarter and it's doing extremely well. But like everything, if you stay where you are, you get overtaken. So
right.
For me, the focus will be to build the premium part of the business, and Stellar 3 really is a representation of that. It will also be to bring the smart business back to where it rightfully belongs. And
sure.
Like we spoke about, it's not just about selling a smartwatch, but selling a smartwatch with an ecosystem of benefits around it. And the third piece would be to focus on increasing our share outside of India.
Right.
So again, the inspiration there for me is companies like Bajaj and Royal Enfield. I'm a motorcyclist, so I connect very well to that category, who have now proven that Indian motorcycles are, in terms of value, really up there. I mean, they provide products similar to the Europeans and to the Japanese, and some of these companies, more than half of their revenue comes from outside of India. So my dream is for Titan to be also able to do that. So these three things: premium, smart, and international, and keep the India part of the business continuing to rock the way it has been rocking.
Yeah, and keep staying ahead of time. Thank you so much, Mr.
Thank
Markose.
you.
It was lovely chatting with you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ritwika.
Thank you. And with that, it's a wrap on this episode of IDFC First Bank Presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 13. We hope you enjoyed the episode. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.